And then the Israeli method. That's
so the Israeli method,
that's the difference that I'm intrigued to hear.
So the Israeli method, I just heard a great podcast, Aleph, I think his name is Mike Eisenberg, and the CEO of Waze, Noam, I forget his name, whatever. So they were talking. Chomsky. No, definitely not Chomsky. Definitely not Chomsky. They had this amazing talk where they were, like, he was explaining that Israelis think very local, right? So you have a Chinese entrepreneur, and he's like, okay, what's a medium-sized success? We have 400 million users, right? That's like a medium-sized success, right? And a really innovative Chinese entrepreneur will say, okay, no, we're going to go global, right? But like a second base would be 400 million users, right? And Israelis like, can we get Dimona on board? You know,
right?
Like, can we get
Can we get Petah Tikva?
Yeah. What like it's like
Yavna.
Yeah, and then and then how can we sell out? How can we have an exit? It's all the talk is exit. Well, why not build something way bigger? And like, if you look at genetically, okay, what's the difference between Sam Altman, Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Ballmer, Larry Ellison? I can go on and on. The founders of Google. I just listed,
several of them.
Every single one's Jew. I just listed.
Yeah.
And they're Israel, like their first cousins, second cousins, who the difference was one went to Israel, one went to
to the US.
From the Pale Settlement, whatever, and one went this way. Is there something philosophically that they're, again, genetically the same, let's say values and morals pretty much the same, work ethic the same. There's a great Talmudic phrase, which is a man goes after his surroundings, environment. A man goes after his environment. And so we have to, again, it's back to that nuclear engineering conversation I had, in the entrance of Gaza. Again, right behind us is the smoldering ruin of Be'eri, and in front of us is Gaza. And it's a surreal moment where you're like, the only thing you can focus on those moments are how do we build the future? Yeah. And I'll say this is probably the most important thing I'm going to say right now. This whole conversation is, if anyone who's listening to this, or anyone who's thinking about investing in Israel or coming to Israel or being part of this, is that the future is Israel. Elon Musk and anyone who's thinking about going to Mars or anything else has to answer the following two questions. A, and I got on your case when we first met off camera, are you having children? Israel is the only wealthy country in the world, OECD, which is having above replacement rate levels of children. It's a fact, okay? Yeah. At the same time, we have educated female workforce. At the same time, we have extraordinarily expensive housing costs. But we're forward thinking. We're thinking, okay, we want to have, we're pro-human, Yeah. Or, dare I say,
it's all about continuing on the legacy of the story.
The story and the legacy and the Torah values. It's amazing. It's absolutely spectacular to spend Shabbat in an army base with all different types of Jews and some non-Jews too. We had a few Filipino guys and a few African guys, and who are not Jewish at all. But you're part of this thing called the Israeli story. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. I mean, we have a higher GDP now than the UK and Germany.
Wow.
Yeah, you probably don't know that. Most people don't know that. Google it,
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Maybe I just made that up. I'll ask afterwards. ChatGPT, but it sounded good.
Yeah.
Look it up.
Do you think that difference in perspective? We talk about the only difference between an Altman and maybe Shmuley Altman.
Well, even do a better one. Altman's co-founder is a guy from Jerusalem.
Right.
The CTO, I forget his name right now, Ilya something.
Okay. Yeah.
What? Again, he's just started his own thing. He just raised $20 billion, so he's not doing bad,
Yeah. But what is the difference?
But Altman's not the engineer behind it. It's this Israeli guy.
How much do you think that the socialist beginnings of Israel played an impact on that mindset? And how much do you think that's shifted in the past 20 years or so?
That's
20 years.
Amazing question. That's the beginning story of Milton Friedman, where he diagnosed the problem. I went to Chicago, right? And so Rabbi Brackman is the Chabad rabbi of Chicago, and he had when Milton Friedman died, he had kind of like a quasi shiva for him, Mm-hmm. I remember all these Chinese economic grad students came there, and these are the children of the elites in China, and they're studying
Milton Friedman,
and they felt so much that they wanted to come to the Jewish service it was amazing.
To understand
it was amazing. Okay, to understand okay, it can't be economics. It has to be something spiritual about these people that's making them tick.
Yeah,
and we need to understand that to bring back to the Politburo or whatever of the Chinese Communist Party. There's a fundamental problem that happened in Israel, and it was that traditional Jews ceded a lot of intellectual capacity for the founding of the state, the bedrock institution of the state. So the judicial department in Israel is evil. They're terrible. We don't live in a democracy. We don't live in a dictatorship. We live in a it's called a judicocracy, like the judiciary, like the legal department.
Right. Yeah.
Like the Supreme Court can magically do whatever they want. Again, I'm not saying
let's say the political side of things.
I'm not even saying political so much. I'm just saying like fact, right? And I agree with most of the things they're saying. I'm not even disagreeing with the idea, just that where the power comes from, and that comes from this idea that there's this expert class, and that there's economists can figure out how to best allocate resources. They can't do junk nothing. Like they're like professors who've never made money in their life. Like what are you doing? You know? And there's definitely a huge shift that's happening in the secular Israeli world. It's already happened. And one of the big problems is in the religious, let's say the Haredi world, where I definitely live in. I live down the street here in Harnov. There's still a extreme socialist tendency that is masked by what they think is tzedakah or charity, charitable giving.
Right.
But reality is it's this like, neo-Marxist idea that's parasitically infected into the mindset, right?
Right.
So one of the great things that's happening, maybe that's people over the age of 40. Under the age of 40, there is we can make money and still be all these, say to our deals. We can make amazing, innovative companies and stick within the tenets of the Torah. We can make
still give, still charity,
and still give, and still be charitable, and still help people in need, and like special needs kids and mental health people, and like people who have diseases. Of course, you want to help all those people, right? But like the default should be, and also obviously Torah scholars too. We want those guys to crush it. Those are those are the greatest, right? But like we want to do all that and live in the best country in the world. And I'll leave this last idea about just how Israel is changing, how amazing it is. There is a huge tidal wave change that's happening about thinking of Israel as Israel Inc. Not Israel, the state of Israel, but Israel as a state, and as a state of a country, of a corporation. Yeah. And so I, as a citizen, have a piece of that corporation. I want the value of my citizens to go up, and I think you're going to see massive changes in the next few years. And so,
no, I agree. I mean, you can even see in the past 10 years when you come to Israel, then relative to now, the amount of buildings that are going up. My father used to always say that the way that you assess a city's economy is by how many cranes are up in the sky. Yeah. And you can see that in Israel, even in the midst of a war. That's what shocked me so much.
I recommend everyone to go to the place called Netivot, which is right on the border of Gaza, or Sderot, which is right on the border of Gaza. Yeah. And you will just, the entire skyline is cranes. And you're like, this doesn't make any sense. What?
And Sderot was, they were literally terrorists driving through.
Everywhere. I'm saying everywhere. Got building, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And in Nahariya, you go there, you'll see cranes everywhere. Again, it doesn't make any sense. There's a guy sitting in the office right next to us right here who's creating a company, he's going to start selling timeshares, which we don't have in Israel. They have it in Orlando and other places in America. Doesn't exist in Israel yet. Yeah, you get a free way to go to Disney World. You get a timeshare. Go to the conference. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to buy a timeshare. So he's going to create a company with timeshares, and I think he's right. I think there's going to be such unbelievable demand globally for Israeli real estate, because this is where this innovation is going to start happening. It already is, but like the bleeding edge. And the world right now is okay, everyone's kind of been, whatever, maybe countries is 10 years, 20 years behind, but it catches up. There's going to be three major things that a society needs to win in the future, which is children, energy, electrons, and calories. Which you can argue that that electrons are calories for robots, machines. And those three things, you're pretty much good to go. We were granted a miracle, an open miracle in the land of Israel. When I was a young kid, I'm 36 right now. I remember coming to Israel with my mom, and you had to be worried about you turn on and off the water. Okay, this year we had a terrible, terrible drought compared to the last few years. Now it's raining outside, but it's a super terrible year for drought. Nobody cares that much. Why? Because we have this amazing technology, osmosis, reverse osmosis and desalination and conservation and all these amazing technologies that Israelis built, drip irrigation. We're able to do. It's so amazing. For thousands of years, people have been praying for water. And now we have this technology that gives us water.
That just creates
from seawater. Yeah. And it's like, wait, I just have to take uranium and split it and get energy and then do this thing, and I have water all the time. It's amazing. Okay? Food. We have more calories now than we've ever had in history ever.
You're telling me.
Yeah. From your lips to God's ears. Yeah. Those wings were great last night. It's amazing what we can do. I mean, absolutely. So we have the calories, we have the electrons, right, and children. And the number one question that I'm asking in any startup is, will this make my children's future better? And if the answer is yes, which again, I think that this, sanction tracker and figuring out how to hurt our enemies in an asymmetric way is awesome, and is willing to bet time and money and a few years of my life going into it and like trying to figure out if we win. Yeah, it is. It's really awesome. It's a lot of fun. It's amazing. It's definitely the Wild West. I mean, there's places where there's no rules. I mean, like you're talking about the open seas, there's some things that you can do there that you couldn't do anywhere else with the support of the U.S. government, which is amazing too.
Thank God for that.
Yeah. I wouldn't like to be rushed doing this one. Yeah. And it's spectacular. And it really takes, I'll end off on one last thing before we do this reel. I have these two friends in America, which are pretty big YouTube personalities. Mm-hmm. And they were talking about how how did I meet them? I just started sending them emails because I was listening to their stuff and I sent them emails. And they just had a podcast where they're describing that in the few years they've been doing this, 98% of the people who email them with philosophical questions are Jews. They're just they're not a Jewish couple. They're and they're we've been doing this for years. And we see the data, you guys only make up 1/1000th of the world's population watching YouTube. Okay. And 90, and it's the exact opposite. 999 of the 1,000 philosophical inquiries. Not okay, your lighting's off, or it's from Jews. And then of that, it's the more Jewy sounding names, like the Binyamin Claymans and the Ephraims and the whatever Menashes are the ones who are
of course.
Yeah. I'm not sure Australians, but yeah, same idea, right? Are the ones asking these questions. And that's the most amazing thing. We're living in a country, Israel is a country asking questions. It's being forced to. God is guiding us to force these questions. And to end off, again, I'm on the battlefield in and out of Gaza. At the point is, and these two Jews are asking themselves questions of what's the future look like, and it's awesome. I mean, it's spectacular. And I'm a betting man. I put all my resources here. My kids are being, my wife and kids are here. This is the future. And so, if anyone's listening to this, they're invited to come see me in Jerusalem. Love to hang out.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be going for a beer or two after.
What kind of beer? Yeah.
12%.
Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah.
Cheers. Thank you very much. Great.